Welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Bo Oliver, joined here today with Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and we are back to talk about the world of Hollywood, movies, TV, what's the third one? Video games. Look at that. We've got 2 trailers to talk about on this episode of the Nerd Soup podcast, and then we're going to take some fan questions. It's a little light on stories, but we thought we'd throw one together because of the last-minute trailers we got. Obi-Wan dropped the day of our podcast, and then House of Dragon dropped the next day, so typical. Because we're on the Disney and HBO payroll, so they like to hook us up. Listen to the podcast, obviously, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all the platforms for podcasts. Well, not all of them, just some of them, a lot of them. And also YouTube. And you could go to our description box below and subscribe to our podcast channel. We've been plugging that for the last couple of weeks. Starting this summer, that's where we will upload our podcast episodes. Not all episodes, just the podcasts. And follow us on social media at Nerd Soup, Bo Soup, Nerd Soup Monkey. That's it. No other plugs for these. Well, Nash is just not here. Yeah. Teddy's having a baby.
Good for him.
Yeah. So he's in that process right now, so it could be any moment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know he's excited.
Can't wait for her to come out, and she just has a cold open on deck.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be. So I'm in the operating room.
No, the baby.
Oh, the baby.
Yeah.
Just after hearing so many Teddy stories in the womb.
You try to live it in 9 months in there. Listen to you guys blabber on all day.
So I'm in my mom's womb, right? And there's this guy who keeps talking. Can't really talk well. That's a little mean.
Yeah.
Teddy's been working on that. He's gotten much better.
No, he's good. Yeah. Hopefully, I think he'll change. He'll be a new man.
With a kid?
Yeah.
I think he's already changed. We joke about Teddy, but he's ready for this. It's something that he wants, in all seriousness. Sometimes people get into relationships, marriages, have kids for the wrong reasons. I very much think he's doing it for the right reasons. So I think he'll change a bit. I think he'll, like I said, I've noticed a more maturity surrounding him in recent years. So I think he's going to only go that direction. Not good for the podcast.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Right, yeah. Adult Teddy. You can only be happy for him.
Yeah.
If it were me, I'd be totally miserable.
I would be dead or just not even functioning.
Let's just go to the first story. House of Dragon. New trailer, new still images, some character posters. The first thing that really stood out to me about this trailer was the production value. I don't know what the budget is going to be. The last report I read still said they were maintaining that 15 to 20 per episode. It definitely shows. So picking up where Season 8 left off, getting right back into this world, there's going to be no problem with us being convinced that this is Westeros, that these are the castles and the lands that we're used to. It's just going to come down to the story. And there were some character moments in this that it takes you right back to the feelings that Game of Thrones would conjure up. The political machinations, the violence, the rivalries inside of the rivalries. It's just going to come down to writing. Writing is everything. So they've got the framework, they've got the groundwork. It's not like George has to race them to the finish line. The ending's there. And I think that I've said this a few times, that the story is so dense, that there's so much that goes on that leads to the ultimate ending of this confrontation, that there's going to be surprises for people that are even familiar with the story, because I think things will catch up to you. For new viewers, this is going to be, I think an absolute blast if it's done well. And we saw the dragons. People have been wondering what the dragons would look like, and obviously a lot of CGI is going to be dedicated to that. The final scene with Matt Smith and the dragon was great, and also just the random dragon flying in the air. But overall, I was really excited about this.
Yeah, it was definitely a good trailer. I think my main takeaways was, like what you said, just how it looks, and it kind of just feels like we're in the same universe, but just however so many years in the past. And I think we got a little sense from the little teaser we got and some pictures they released, just the characters and how they look and how they feel. And I think so far it's been, I don't hate any of the castings. I think the cast is all in place. Like you said, the story's there. It's a really good story. You could argue, I'm not going to say it's better than the original story, but it has a lot of more, it does have more going for it in some instances. So, obviously we have all the dragons at our disposal here, and definitely Targaryen heavy. So, this is Targaryens in their fucking prime. And maybe not their prime, but they're still,
Well, you can argue that if it's not their prime,
it's
maybe
right
that
there.
Goes back to Aegon.
That's what I was
But
that's
this
what I was
is
thinking.
definitely the peak of their rule.
Right, yeah. So, they have everything in place. Like, obviously you can see with the dragons and the fear that brings, and even just from the threat of dragons from the original series, what that brought to everyone's perception of Daenerys. Now imagine having all these fucking dragons, most of them grown, at your disposal, and you're like in the middle of a dynasty. Like, I just can't wait to see the Targaryen rule and just how people react and how they interact with the different houses. So that's all interesting from like my perspective when I'm looking for. But I think, especially when you're coming back with a prequel with something that didn't finish too well, that like the first couple episodes are going to be key into really grasping the audience back and bringing them back for real. And I think there are ways where, because usually like the first 1 or 2 episodes they're not the most exciting, but they just do enough to grip you. And I think with the use of like dragons at their disposal, like there's going to be something like right away that people are going to be like, holy shit. Like a moment where, obviously with Daenerys, in season 7 episode, what was Spoils of War? 4?
4.
Yeah, something like Spoils of War, where you're like, oh shit, this is Game of Thrones, but like we're getting right into it here. And I hope they don't overuse that or over rely on it, but you can definitely use that as a tool to get people back into it. But I'm just looking forward to Olivia Cook and her portrayal, because I think that's going to be a character that I'm going to absolutely love. And most people are going to fucking hate.
Oh, yeah, she's going to be very divisive. She's going to be the new Littlefinger, the new Varys for this generation. But I wonder, because of Littlefinger and Varys being men, Olivia Cook being an attractive young actress, if more people are going to be on her side, similar to Wanda Maximoff. You're watching her do all these fucked up things, manipulating people, trying to gain power, but you have a soft spot for her because she's Olivia Cook. She's delivered some very good performances recently. I always bring up Thoroughbreds, and that shows the range that she has to play a character like this, who can get down and dirty, whose morals sometimes are a bit compromised. And this story does dip a bit more into high fantasy than the original series. You made this point a couple days ago that the way they used the dragons in Game of Thrones was they were using it as building towards this power, the anticipation of what they might do when they're fully grown. But now they are fully grown, and there's dozens of them. So you're going to see more dragons. You're going to see more dragon fights. I don't think that's a spoiler. And the Targaryen family, man, I hope they do embrace some of the weird and magical, what do you call it? Sort of vibe that this group has, because they do it in the books more than they did it in the show, that there's something off about them, where they have this sort of special connection with the dragons, and they are almost magical creatures. Obviously they did it with Daenerys's immunity to fire and stuff like that, but I hope they touch on that a bit more. Being that it is a show focusing on House Targaryen, maybe we'll get some more concrete information about what went down in Valyria, stuff like that, their family roots. So those are the details I'm definitely looking forward to.
And I think like the biggest thing from the trailer that I think is kind of confirmed now, but we knew for a while, is that they're going to spend a lot of time in the past as well, with especially more focused on Princess Rhaenyra, who I think is probably going to be, I don't really know, because I feel like when looking at things online and reading the forums and things like that, when I first read this story, I feel like people were split on the green and blacks. Like, there were people rooting for each side, but I think Rhaenyra is going to be painted as mostly the protagonist, and I think that character is going to get the most depth, because I think she's the only one that really had a prominent feature in the flashback. Maybe her father too, Viserys, but mostly with what's her name, Millie Alcock is playing the younger version of this character, with Emma Darcy playing the present-day version, which is an interesting, we haven't really saw that in the original series. We had that one flashback with Cersei, and then all of Bran's time-traveling weirdness, but I think that's actually a pretty interesting way to tell this story, and probably the best way to go, because if you go first 2 episodes slow at the bat, trying to develop this character in the past and her relationship with her father and why she was groomed for the throne, then I feel like it could be a lot of exposition and stuff like that. But if you can show us via flashbacks and sprinkle it in throughout the season of that relationship, I think you can basically simultaneously develop the character and further the story. So
yeah, I wonder how they'll do that if they do start the show in the past and they just do a time jump to the present, or if they're going to mix in those flashbacks, because they also have the young actress for Lady Alison Hightower, so they obviously had a relationship as younger women, and we're going to see how that evolves. But like you said, you can't, it's not a spoiler that the show is going to be focusing on Rhaenyra being the heir to her father. The narration there is, it's no secret, no woman has ever sat on the Iron Throne, so there's going to be a lot of similarities with Daenerys. People are going to see that character, and they're going to see Daenerys in her. Obviously, the blonde hair, the Targaryen name, stuff like that, but it goes back to this being a man's world. It's dominated by the patriarchy. Characters that tried to break that patriarchy, it normally didn't end well for them. It doesn't end well for the men a lot of times either.
No.
So for the game, for women, it's even more rigged, and that makes for very interesting television because they're forced to be a bit more clever. They have to be more steps ahead or else they can't win. And these actresses, I'm not as familiar with Emma Darcy as I am with Olivia Cook, but like I said, they have good credits to both of their names. And Matt Smith is he's such a recognizable face. He's one of those guys where he's not an A-lister, but I think everyone recognizes his face because of Doctor Who.
Well, he's been in like every demographic.
Yeah, he has. He's
The
done
Crown,
a little bit
Doctor
of everything.
Who, Morbius.
Right.
The big Morbius demographic, which pretty much spans every demographic.
Paddy Considine is one of those actors as well, where he's been around for so long, and he's been in so many great projects, but he doesn't have that sort of household name. So I would love for this show to kind of bring some of these guys to the B-list, to the A-list, like the original Game of Thrones did. Dude, that cast, I always think about that. That original Game of Thrones cast was casted so fucking well, and it was so attractive. You don't get that for TV shows these days, man. It's so hard to make that's an all-star cast in terms of attractiveness.
Yeah.
Even Littlefinger cute.
Yeah. I think the reaction mostly from the trailer was pretty positive, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, you're still going to see the people who, they messed up season 8, I'm not watching this. But somebody tweeted, the people who have watched all of Game of Thrones thinking that House of the Dragon is beneath them are ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because it can still be good. Just because season 8 was bad, it's not all of the same people. Obviously, Sapochnik he's the showrunner, right?
He's one of the showrunners.
Yeah, he's one of the showrunners. George apparently was more heavily involved, so we know what happened when George was more involved in Game of Thrones. Those first 4 seasons, he wrote an episode every season.
Yeah.
He was an EP. He was there working with David Benioff and D.B. Wise until he left to go and never finish his book. Now he's back. So at this point, man, I'd probably just rather take a good show rather than Winds of Winter. Because I don't think Winds of Winter is ever coming out. Might as well just do it all on TV.
Yeah.
Right? Why don't you just do the Winds of Winter show? Bring all the cast back together. Just like, no, we're just going to redo it. But this is book canon,
Oh, God. I don't care at this point. But
something. Yeah. Cartoon, comic, strip. Acted
I
out.
just want this to be good. And I think it will be. Have you read the story?
I have. Mostly through Wikipedia posts.
Okay.
And, the Dance of the Fire and Blood history book.
Yeah.
But so much of the story is still lost on me because it is super dense. Because like Game of Thrones, man, there's a lot of people with agendas in this show. It's not just about the Iron Throne. It's, how can this help my situation? Like Corlys Velaryon, the sea snake. I think he's going to be a fan favorite.
Yes.
He looks like such a badass. He's got a badass name. All of his exploits apparently are just awesome. It's just him being awesome for his entire life. So people are going to be drawn to different characters and different families. It's going to be Game of Thrones all over again. But I think it will be good. I have high hopes for this.
Me too. I keep confusing Kristen Cole with Keelan Cole, the wide receiver from the Jets. That's going to be annoying. I was going to say, Kristen Cole is, he's going to be a fun character to see people's reactions to.
Yeah.
And Sonoya Mizuno, I feel like that's we haven't touched upon her at all. I can't wait to see her fucking character. Everything that they said, her character description, like a Varys type, but probably a little bit more, I don't know, maybe even more mysterious.
Yeah, I'm in love with that actress. So
she's very good.
There's just something about her. She's got such a great presence. So yeah. Once again, a character, like you said, similar to Varys. She's the mistress of whispers, right? Or something like that.
Yeah. I hope she's like, I feel like she should have a big role because...
Oh, well, she becomes pretty much BFFs with Matt Smith.
Yeah, she doesn't have... Yeah.
Yeah, good trailer, though. Overall, good trailer. Production value for me was the thing that stood out the most.
Yeah, August 21st.
August 21st. Yeah, that's right around the corner, man. Summer's going to fly by.
I also like when they said all their names. Like, oh, Stark, I know that.
Jog the memory.
Oh, Baratheon, yeah, it's Baratheon.
Rickard Stark, great-great-great-great-grandfather of Ned Stark, played by Sean Bean. It's like when Littlefinger was giving Ned all the details about the houses when he was sitting on the throne.
That's your wife's house, right?
Why are you looking at the camera, Baelish? What camera? There's no camera here.
Peter, I know my wife's house.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the words. I've been to their Thanksgiving many times. All right, let's move on to the next trailer here. We have Obi-Wan, the Obi-Wan series. People are very excited for that. They didn't drop it on May 4th. Missed opportunity there, but it's coming out on May 27th.
They did release it on May 4th.
No, the actual show.
Oh.
Yeah. They released a trailer, yeah, but the show is coming May 27th. Like I said, the second trailer featured a lot of the same shots, but we got some more lines of dialogue. We had that interaction between Obi-Wan and Uncle Owen, which everyone was so thrilled about. But
I saw the funniest fucking tweet. There's someone being like, "Oh, I love how they." I love how they have comic accurate Uncle Owen being a dick to Obi-Wan here, like a dead ass serious tweet. I was just thinking, oh, thank God you got comic accurate Uncle Owen. I wouldn't have watched the show if that wasn't the case. Fuck yeah, finally a comic book accurate Uncle Owen.
I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but the excitement surrounding that exchange was really bothering me. It's so many member berries. It's so many bringing up moments from the past that we've already seen play out, or we know how they're going to play out. Yeah, Obi-Wan failed Anakin Skywalker, and he turned into Darth Vader. Spoiler alert. Have you seen Empire Strikes Back? Once again, the production value looks great.
I love this show.
I wonder if they Boba Fett had some budgetary restraints there that they needed to move those resources over to Obi-Wan, because Disney bought Star Wars to make Tatooine the most important character, the main character. So that's who you need to really spruce up. Obviously, he's going to be battling the Inquisitor. People made jokes about the Inquisitors, the Empire, so desperately trying to hunt down Obi-Wan while Yoda's just in a spa on Dagobah, getting his nails done, kicking back, cucumbers on the eyes. Relaxing I am. But Obi-Wan, man, he's just going through it once again.
It's personal for Obi.
Yeah, it doesn't stop with him. I don't know. What do you think about the whole idea of him having another fight with Darth Vader? Are you as bothered by people who are saying, don't let them meet before A New Hope? That just kind of, it's going to take away from that moment. Or are you one of those who say, I don't give a fuck. Let's just see them throw hands.
I want to see them throw hands. Dude, like the best part about Rogue One was finally seeing, like obviously we saw Vader in Empire and Revenge of the Return of the Jedi, like in a better light than we saw him in A New Hope, because obviously that fight's not as great, but I think the choreography and the style of Empire and Return of the Jedi are some of my favorite lightsaber duels. But when you match that with like some of the modern technology and kind of get him actually going off and you're able to do certain things, like what we saw in Rogue One was fucking awesome. And I kind of want to see more of that. I don't know how long this takes. Do they know how long after Episode 3 this takes place?
I'm going to say, based on Luke's age, 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
He looks like he's still a young kid.
And there's probably another 10, 15 years until...
Yeah, I think they're 19 in New Hope. Yeah, so he's got some time to age it to Alec Guinness.
So, like, if it was closer to that meeting, I don't know why it matters to me, but I feel like you need some space between those, like, canonically, in terms of, like, when they actually meet, how long after, and how long until A New Hope, for it to, like, fully make sense.
Right, if the lines of dialogue, like, I haven't felt that presence for a long time.
Yes, so...
I guess that would be enough space.
Right.
About 10 years plus.
And they don't specifically ever say they haven't met in these forms yet. Obi-Wan, especially, even in A New Hope, like, he knows about Vader, like, in Vader form. And
that is true.
Yeah.
You know what? That's a line of dialogue that can make this all make sense when he tells Luke he's more machine than man now.
Yes.
So how does he know that? Obviously, he may have heard rumors, but you've been stowed away on Tatooine for a long time. He says it with such certainty, you would think that, yeah, he's had some experience fighting against this half robot, half man creature. So yeah, but the thing is, whenever you tell a story like this, you need to surround them with characters that you grow to care about, or good characters that are either going to lose their lives, or there has to be some sort of stakes in order to get invested in this. So the Obi-Wan Darth Vader fight, as well choreographed as it can be, there needs to be something behind it. It can't just be, it's they cross paths one day on Coruscant, like Obi-Wan Darth Vader, what the fuck? They just start squaring off, giving each other the finger. But there's got to be something that draws you into these confrontations. It can't just be relying on the namesake. This is something that you guys want to see, right? I'm afraid that they'll do that because Star Wars has been prone to do that. They fall into that sort of trap where it's just good enough to give us Obi-Wan Darth Vader. There's nothing kind of surrounding it.
I think they're going to handle this with more care than they would for like a Book of Boba Fett or something like that, because it is such an iconic character, and I feel like he was, I think, the best part of the original trilogy, acting wise and just with his character. So like he deserves a good story for his portrayal of Obi-Wan, because it is an iconic portrayal, but like the portrayals haven't been that great because of the movies they're in. So he deserves like a chance to actually have a good script with and put in a good performance as his character. And I think the look of it is so much like, does it look like Star Wars? Yes, it looks like fucking Star Wars.
It does. It definitely does.
It has a better look than the prequels, and it kind of feels like those earlier original trilogy movies, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. And you make a good point. His performance as Obi-Wan is so iconic, you almost feel like they want to give him this opportunity to do it the right way. But that also pisses me off, because if they're going to give that much focus and care to a character like Obi-Wan, why even bother with some of these other shows, or show in terms of Boba Fett? Because it felt like such a placeholder. This is just something to keep you occupied until the Obi-Wan show. And that's it's just going to continuously piss me off.
I hope they did the same thing in Kenobi they did in Boba Fett, where they just give us 2 episodes of Mando. Makes no sense because timeline-wise, but they just go to Mando.
No, they should straight up do like a Yoda spa day on Dagobah. Real laid back, Yoda getting into hijinks, making friends, making memories.
You want a Yoda bottle episode?
Yeah. I'm a big Yoda guy.
I think he's overrated and a traitor.
He's a traitor?
Yeah.
How's he a traitor?
He just went away.
What did Obi-Wan do?
He's still looking after Luke.
Well, Yoda's got important business on Dagobah, man. He's learning about how he's got to change his philosophies for when Luke arrives there, Yeah, who's your favorite Star Wars character? Kylo Ren?
Yeah.
He's a little fucking bitch.
You love Kylo.
I do love Kylo.
No, but like, I don't know. Luke was able to destroy the Empire. Obviously, he had help with the rebellion. Maybe the rebellion wasn't put in place at this time, or as strong of a footing, or as organized. But you imagine there's still, what's better than Luke? Maybe Obi-Wan and Yoda. Tell me they couldn't get it done?
Hell no. No, they probably could have. Nice little plot hole there. Yeah, I'm trying to remember how it starts relatively soon after the Empire takes over. I'm trying to figure out what year Rebels starts, the cartoon. But a point I wanted to bring up, when they had the fight between Ahsoka and Darth Vader in Rebels, when they have that reunion for the first time since Ahsoka was kicked out of the Jedi and Anakin turned into Darth Vader, Ahsoka's fighting style was very much ripped from the prequels. But Darth Vader's was from the original trilogy, where he was very, not slow, but a bit more sluggish, a bit more stiff, but still dominated Ahsoka, because it's just, there's levels to it. Darth Vader didn't need to speed up. He didn't need to match that style, because he was just more powerful. So I hope they do keep that, where they've aged a bit. They're not flipping around like they were on the volcano, but it's just a bit more cleaner, a bit more visually pleasing to the viewer, rather than watching them swing wiffle ball bats at each other.
Yeah.
It's more about the moment in A New Hope, and obviously the fights did improve, but I think there's a cool way that they can sort of mesh the styles of the prequels and the original trilogy, like they did in Force Awakens, and also like they did it in Rebels.
Yeah.
So that would be fun to see. But still, once again, officially I'm tired of this era. It's time to move on. It's either we stop doing Star Wars,
No.
You give me episode 10 because we need to fix that shit because the episode 10 is coming, guaranteed. Or we go to a different era. We go to the Knights of the Old Republic. Give me the origins of the Sith. Give me the origins of the Jedi. Make it like Game of Thrones. Give me something else. I am so sick and tired of this era. At least that's me. And you called it back when they released Rogue One, and I didn't listen. I was like, well, you're not excited for Rogue One? Donnie Yen?
Listen to me.
I'm with the Force, and the Force is with me.
I'll steer you in the right direction. Just listen to me more often.
Okay.
Like I said, I was.
Can I see your investment portfolio?
What's that? Yeah,
Jesus.
I agree. I think once kind of the Mandalorian wraps up, I think you could still do things in this era, but the main story, I think we desperately need something new.
No more Stormtrooper jokes. No more. It's enough.
It's so weird. I just finished Moon Knight, and I was just thinking to myself, I think I'm having some of that superhero fatigue y'all been talking about. Then I go on Twitter. I'm like, ooh, Obi-Wan trailer dropped.
Well,
Let's
he's not a
fucking
superhero.
go, man.
He's a Jedi.
But it's in the same vein.
Oh, technically, but...
Then I was like, ooh, Doctor Strange comes out tomorrow. Hell yeah.
Yeah, Moon Knight, what are we going to do about that? We got to review episode 5 and 6?
Do the next podcast, maybe.
I'm actually afraid of reviewing Moon Knight because people don't like our Moon Knight reviews. It's when you're lukewarm on a Marvel show, it's not fun. It's not fun to be on YouTube. I don't think it's worth it, to be completely honest.
Throw it on a pod.
Throw it on a pod? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do like a series review. Those are always fun. Once Teddy has his baby.
Who knows when that is? Then he's going to need like a week or two.
He's going to need maternity leave.
Yeah.
From Nerd Soup, not from his job. That's good stuff. The Obi-Wan trailer, you have any more comments? Anything else you want to point out?
I'm just happy we're getting comic accurate. Uncle Owen.
That is very true, dude. I didn't even think about that. All right, now before we get to fan questions, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor for today's episode, and that would be Storyblocks. Right now, you can click the link in our description box below, and this is a good opportunity for anyone who's interested in content creation, whether you're making videos on YouTube or if you're making videos for your small business. Storyblocks is dedicated to making it easier for independent creators to bring their stories to life without sacrificing the quality of your video due to time, budget, or resources. This is what makes Storyblocks so great. With one of their affordable subscriptions, you will receive unlimited downloads for all of the content in the Storyblocks library. They have stuff like templates for softwares like After Effects, or things that you can use in all the major Adobe products, stock images, graphic designs, background footage. They also have royalty-free music, so you can give your video some cinematic flair, or if you want something to serve as background music while you're narrating. The options in their library feel like they're unlimited. They have a very easy search bar that you can just type in specifically what you're looking for, and they give you dozens and dozens of options. And the Storyblocks library is royalty free, so all of the things that you download when you're a member of Storyblocks are yours to use as many times as you like. So consider signing up to Storyblocks with one of their affordable subscriptions by clicking the link in our description box below. All right, now let's move on to fan questions. Let's hear that music.
That's for the fan to decide.
Yay! People, you call up to the show, you better be ready. That's what you're supposed to do. Sitting there arguing and you're trying to spell your name and all of this other stuff. It's not your show, it's my show. I'm giving you the opportunity to speak your mind. Don't call up here unless you got something to say.
All right, this question here from Shane Lisa. Do you guys think we'll get blood and cheese in House of the Dragon? So if you're familiar with the story, you know what this is. If you don't look it up.
I think so, but like... Jesus Christ. That's going to be one of the most, like, dark things.
Worse than the Red Wedding?
Red Wedding was... Oh, no, the baby stabbing. Yeah, that kind of sucked. Yeah, no, I think so. Because it is just fucked up. It's super fucked up. And it's, like, it's going to make people be like, holy shit, that's bad. But it's, like, pretty cool. And that, like, not cool because what they do because it's a terrible thing, but, like, it is pretty hardcore.
All right, this question here from Cowboy Stannis. How do you guys feel about de-aging Mark Hamill to play Luke in Kenobi? Yeah, there's been a lot of discussion about that because those behind-the-scenes videos have been making their rounds on social media, Mark Hamill being the stand-in. But people have made this point. They're not using that, maybe I guess as a point of reference, but they're completely changing it. When they use the de-aging technology. It's not even Mark Hamill's voice.
Yeah.
So I think it's more so to just keep...
His voice is so different now.
Right, yeah. I mean, that's, it's natural. And I think inviting him on set to be there is more for him and the other actors.
Yeah.
And it's more for the fans to release these videos, because somebody made the point, Mark Hamill hated The Last Jedi, and he made no secret about it. He was very polite and very kind about the way he worded things, but when you say something very polite and kind 37 times, I'm going to take it as you don't like the thing that you were consistently shitting on in a polite way.
Yeah.
So I think that's more so for Mark Hamill. I mean, the idea of de-aging him into a child is pretty hilarious, but that's something we didn't really talk about when it comes to the trailer. How much are we going to see Luke? Is he going to be kept to the side?
I hope so.
Where it's something where Uncle Owen's just trying to protect him, because he's familiar with
Old Ben.
Old Ben.
Yeah.
Wacky old wizard, you think he calls him, or something like that, or that's what Uncle Owen calls him. So yeah, I don't think he'll have that much screen time. Maybe a moment, maybe they brush into each other at the market.
I just hope that like the last scene isn't like aged up Ewan McGregor and CGI Luke.
It will be. This question here from Corey: can you guys rank all the Disney Plus Marvel shows? Do you have a list in your head?
Yeah, I can wing it. Number 1, WandaVision. Number 2, Loki. Number 3, Falcon Winter Soldier. Number 4, am I missing something? Moon Knight. Number 5, Hawkeye.
What if?
I'm going to put that out on the side.
Okay.
It's standing there, but I liked it.
Yeah, I would go 1, WandaVision, 2, Loki. Damn, it gets hard after that. 3, Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
4, Moon Knight. 5, Hawkeye.
Just copy my list.
6, What If.
But some What If episodes I fucking thought were... That's the hard part about it, because it is kind of like an anthology when it comes to... on an episodic basis. So like some episodes I would have like top 3. Some I would have at the fucking very bottom. Like the Doctor Strange episode. I think that's... maybe a spoiler for how I think about Multiverse of Madness, is the best Doctor Strange story we've seen when focused on him. So, mixed bag.
Yeah, we didn't get a lot of questions when we asked. When we tell them what we're talking about on the podcast, we don't get a lot of questions, which is weird.
Probably don't have questions about that particular topic.
Right. This question here from DK Revs: favorite anti-hero?
Who?
That's a good question. I mean, I always say Tony Soprano is kind of the best definition of anti-hero, because a lot of people put characters who are shady but very much on the side of good guys into the anti-hero category, and I don't think that's what the anti-hero is. I think it's someone who's... I would even put Cersei in that sort of category, because even though she's so wicked and she's willing to go to these certain lengths, she's got moments of goodness when it comes to her children or to her family. Where she's not...
It's always weird, what you consider an anti-hero.
Jaime Lannister was a good one.
Yeah, but he becomes a hero.
Right, that's why I think Tony, he toes that line really well. There are moments when he's just completely ruthless, and there are moments where you could see that there's goodness in him, but he's never so dedicated to either side. And I think it speaks to the environment that he's in, that it makes him that way. There's no other way for him to live than other than being an anti-hero.
I feel like we've lost the definition of that, because I feel like it gets so muddled. Because what's Walter White? I can make an argument for a villain, or he's the protagonist in his story, but he's also a villain to everyone else around him. And he's objectively, I think he might be a good example of that too, because he's very much like Tony Soprano, where he toes that line. But when you look at a Wendy Bird, what category do you put her in? Everyone says she's a villain. She's the villain of the story, but she's very much the person you, as a viewer, is your protagonist or a co-protagonist. So
yeah, even someone like Vito Corleone, I think, is a good definition of an anti-hero. Objectively, he's doing bad things, but you are rooting for him, and there's so much to like about him.
Yeah.
Even his son, Michael Corleone, he probably fits the definition even better, because he really struggles with not becoming just a full-blown villain, where he's losing his humanity over the course of that movie, and by the end of it, it's gone completely. So he kind of makes the transition from good guy, civilian, anti-hero, villain. So that's an interesting one. I'm looking up best anti-heroes on Google. They have Citizen Kane, the main character of Citizen Kane. I think that's actually a good choice as well.
I feel like we always think of it as like in a way where it's how we think of anti-heroes is I feel like sometimes it gets skewed too as well, because when you look at like a Henry Hill or even Jordan Belfort, like what are they? They're very much
Henry Hill's a good one. Yeah,
they're very much anti-heroes.
Belfort, actually, I would put straight at villain. That guy's just a fucking scumbag.
I know, but like he's the one. He's your
Henry Hill's.
He's your point of view into this world.
Right.
I just saw an article. Are we about to see the rise of the anti-hero? I wonder what that is. You see, I feel like it just gets
right. No, I think we are going in that direction.
It's a picture of Barry.
Yeah, it's so hard to define these things, but I think we are going that direction also with villains. The obsession over the last few years has been giving villains justifiable reasons, or not even justifiable reasons, but they think that they're right from their perspective. And I think where we're trending now is characters who are just wholly evil.
Yeah.
I think Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad does such a good job of that. Like I said, the way that they portray some of these characters in the cartel.
This article cited Daniel Plainview, which is actually a really good one.
That's a good one too.
But I never really thought of it. I just thought he was just I guess he does lose his way, but I always just thought he was a dick.
Right, but heroes, Batman's a hero, Joker's a villain.
Yeah. But in Joker, what is he?
Right, in Joker, I don't think he's an anti-hero, I don't think he's a villain, he's just a character.
Right, that's how, yeah. I think we label like Cruella.
Jack Sparrow's a good one. He's always looking out for himself, but at times he'll make the right decision. He'll do the right thing. So I think that it just depends on what your definition of anti-hero is. This question here.
Paddington, to answer your question. He's a menace.
I don't know if you could call him an anti-hero.
He's fucked. Doesn't mean it, but he ruins everything for that poor family.
Why are you so obsessed with Paddington lately?
It's I don't know. I watched it recently and I was like, I like Paddington.
This question here from Julian Parker. Why do you think, I had a little trouble with that one. Why do you think The Northman did not do well at the box office? I know Bo loved it, as did I. Yeah, I mean, some movies just come out and they don't hit, man. I think the climate right now for getting out to theaters is poor for a movie like that to do well. The marketing, it was present. I saw a lot of trailers for it. I saw a push on the internet as well, but these movies come out, man, sometimes they just don't hit. I think it's you're selling it as a Viking movie, but a lot of people watch that trailer and they probably think, what the fuck is this? And I know people who saw it and hated it. So,
yeah, it's weird.
People who went off of my recommendation.
Yeah. It's weird to see. Like, I thought this might actually have a really good shot at commercial success because it is a Viking movie. And, I feel like an average person might be like, oh, fuck, Vikings. That's cool. I like the show Vikings. Vikings are in right now. And I think the name Robert Eggers, that only kind of gets people excited in our world where I don't think anybody really knows who he is or rings a bell. It's like, oh, Robert Eggers' new movie. You got to go out to the theater. He's not there yet. So, yeah. And it didn't really go up against much. What's been the number one movie the past couple of weeks?
The Bad Guys. Been The Bad Guys. I think Fantastic Beasts came out after The Northman.
But there's a window there for some success.
Right, yeah. It's not sort of having that same success as Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
Which is not making tons of money every weekend, but it's making money. It's kind of keeping a steady pace, whereas The Northman looks like it may be out of fuel there.
There's definitely a campaign push.
Yeah, and I think that when it comes to award season, that's a movie that's going to be in the conversation. Hopefully it doesn't get lost because I think it deserves to be in the conversation.
I think some technical aspects, definitely. We'll see how the rest of the year plays out, but there was a good campaign push, like in the subways and stuff like that. The famous, maybe that's why they didn't put the title on the posters.
Yeah, people are just like, who are these people? What are they doing?
Is that Nicole Kidman?
This question here from Samar_B. Why haven't you guys watched Jujutsu Kaisen yet? Well, funny thing is, we have. Just haven't reviewed it.
Yeah.
And we also watched the movie. Well, did you watch the movie?
No, I didn't finish the season yet.
Yeah, that's one that I hear gets better. They're apparently in the manga, they're up to sort of their... Or no, the anime is now transitioning into their exam arcs. So that's a typical thing that happens in anime where the characters, it's similar like in My Hero when they're trying to get their licenses. So that's what's coming up next for Jujutsu Kaisen. Those arcs are always so much fun.
Yeah.
And, the story is definitely heading to a dark place. Very similar to Demon Slayer. The stories are so similar in terms of there's not enough bodies. The bad guys are taking over because of our negligence, and we need to rectify this. Can we? Will we? Who knows? But Jujutsu Kaisen's great, man. One of the best animated animes out there right now. Those fight scenes, that's what brought me in that first episode between Gojo and that random demon where he just fucking turns that man into a fucking tabletop. The spinning tops? Mm-hmm. What, the dreidels? Yeah, that's what I was trying to go for. Expected you to back me up there.
No, dreidel does spin. I think you're just, it's a regular top.
Okay, yeah, tabletop.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure if that was something else.
No, dreidel, it's a fun game. I'll bring it over one day.
Dreidel, 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 I made you out of clay. They used to go hard.
What do you mean used to?
Well, I mean, music changes. I don't think that's aged well. The dreidel song.
It needs a modern...
It needs a future feature.
Got me
Dreidel, dreidel.
Got me this clay. Yep.
There you go. Now you're starting to get it. You're starting to get the appeal.
Sipping lean while spinning dreidel. Yeah.
That would be so fucking hard, man.
I know. I'm about to hire him.
A Jewish rapper made that.
No, feature.
Well, he can convert.
I'm a little dicky Jewish.
This question here from Justin Lives. This will be the last one. What's the best Shrek movie, and why is it Shrek 2?
Dude, you want to see something fucking horrifying? Go on your Netflix later and watch Shrek the Musical.
Oh, it's bad.
It is fucking nightmare fuel.
Yeah, nightmare-inducing.
It's the weirdest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Watching it high would probably be
the worst
decision, right?
We were looking for something to watch, so we're going through it, and like, so, what's this? Shrek the Musical. Because I'm always like, oh, Shrek. But I've never seen Shrek the Musical. I put it on, and I tell you what. I watched a good amount of it because I was just curious. And I'm like, all right, I got to wait for Donkey. I got to see what Donkey's like. And I was like, oh, I want to see who this character's like. It was just awful.
Is Puss in Boots in there?
I think, no. Well, maybe. I didn't get that far.
Oh, man. I wonder how much they cover. I'll never watch that.
Just watch it for 10 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll throw it on in the background. Shrek 2 and Shrek 1, that's the old film debate for the ages.
Shrek 1 is such a good movie.
Shrek 1 is more iconic.
I watched it a few weeks ago, and I was literally just struggling to find something to watch. I'm like, I'll put Shrek on.
It's so fucking funny.
And I was locked in.
Onions have layers.
Adult humor as well. I feel like that is the best case of adult humor in kids movies. Because it is when he goes up to the castle and Donkey's like, oh, how big it is or whatever. He's like, oh, is he compensating for something and laughing at him? That's straight up for adults.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the other adult jokes that they have in there that are really good. I mean, even the, swap manly stories. In the morning, I'm making waffles. Makes me laugh to this day. Donkey's, his little quips when he's talking to himself when they're in the castle.
Yeah.
And he's he's got to go up the stairs. He's like, man, I'm the master of the stairs. I'm the stair master. I step all over these stairs. That is one of the best castings and best voiceover performances ever. And Mike Myers is great as Shrek too, even though the accent's ridiculous. But casting Eddie Murphy in that role, one of the top 5 strokes of geniuses in Hollywood history. It truly was so good.
It's iconic.
Yeah,
and even
it's the definition of iconic.
I didn't hate.
I'm a flying talking donkey.
Going back to the musical, I didn't hate that Mike Myers wasn't Shrek. There's another Shrek, obviously. And I'm like, okay, you could do Shrek. The guy could not do Donkey.
Yeah, no, you can't.
It's just Eddie Murphy.
No, you can't. Yeah. There's no. I mean, it would have to be like Jay Farrow doing an Eddie Murphy impression.
Yeah.
In order for that to work. I remember as a kid, I used to be irrationally scared of Eddie Murphy dying prematurely before they could do Shrek 2. And I used to ask my dad, I was like, who would they cast if Eddie Murphy ever died? He'd be like, why are you asking me this? It's such a weird thing to think about.
Tired. I hope George R.R. Martin doesn't die before he finishes the books. Wired. Hope Eddie Murphy doesn't die before they make a new Shrek.
All right, guys, that is the Nerd Soup Podcast. Thank you for listening to this episode. We had some good fan questions, some solid stories, and we will be back next week, hopefully with the new father, Teddy. Get some perspective on life from...
you just go to the priesthood?
Father Teddy. Hey, right? That could be a funny spin-off of Father Ted instead of...
Father Stew?
Yeah, instead of it being... No, fucking God, no. No Father Stew. Maybe we'll review that one day. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. For Aaron the Nerd Soup Monkey, I am Bo Oliver signing off. Peace.
Damn, we were making some good points in that video. Hey guys, Aaron the Nerd Soup Monkey here. Before we end this video, I want to give a quick shout out to our Patreon supporters. What can I say about you guys that I haven't already said about myself? You are the most important part of the channel and the main reason we keep going strong. Like Bo says, you keep the lights on in the fridge so the fridge is full. Or something like that. So, from everyone here at Nerd Soup, I'd like to thank you guys for your continued support. If you're interested in joining the ranks of our patron supporters, head over to patreon.com/nerdsoup and check out the rewards we offer to our patrons. We recently dropped some new stickers for you guys to check out, or you could choose a tier that will allow you to select a movie, show, or video game for us to review. We've got a full slate of fan-suggested reviews coming your way, and we're really excited about the chance to review some of those movies and shows. We've also got t-shirts, mugs, behind-the-scenes videos showing how we bring our videos to life. And once again, thank you to all our Patreon pledgers who have been supporting us throughout the years. Without you, we wouldn't be able to convert all your pledges into cryptocurrency, so thank you from my future self for making us rich.